pleasant Sunday evening to you, and thanks so much for joining us on the news segment of Dateline. I'm sorry to announce to you, today there is no Dateline, but then here is the news segment of Dateline. My name is Princess Modi. Welcome. President Bola Tinubu has appealed for the suspension of the ongoing End Bad Governance protest. The president, who made the appeal in a nationwide broadcast today, sued for dialogue towards an end to the protest. Sams Okojite brings details of the broadcast monitored from our studios.
President Tinubu expressed fears on the violent outcome of the End Bad Governance protests in some states, while acknowledging that young Nigerians who formed a greater part of the protesters desired a better and more progressive country where their dreams, hopes, and personal aspirations would be fulfilled. The president appealed for the immediate suspension of the protests, calling the protest organizers and protesters for a dialogue. He warned against ethnic bigotry as well as strength and charged security agencies to continue to ensure the full protection of lives and properties of innocent citizens in a responsible manner.
I commiserate with the families and relations of those who have died in the protests. We must stop further bloodshed. Under the circumstances, I hereby enjoin protesters and the organizers to suspend any further protests and create room for dialogue.
While ruling out some statistics indicating that the economy was recovering, the president defended its immediate removal of fuel subsidy, among other controversial policies and projects, stating that they were long-term measures of achieving a better socioeconomic condition under his renewed hope agenda.
These decisions are made were necessary if we must reverse the decades that didn't serve us well. Yes, I agree. The buck stops on my table. But I can assure you that I am focused fully on delivering the governance to the people. Good governance for that matter.
He cited, among other measures, the launching of the compressed natural gas CNG initiative by his administration to power the transportation economy, which is expected to save over 2 trillion naira per month. The launching of the Student Loan Scheme and the Digital and Creative Enterprises IDICE scheme to create millions of IT and technical jobs. On the high cost of housing, President Tinubu said his administration was launching the Renewed Hope Estate in every state, each comprising 500 housing units, with the goal of completing a total of 100,000 housing units over the next 3 years. He appealed to Nigerians to choose hope over fear and unity over division. Sams Okojite reporting.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has disclosed that the payment of the new minimum wage for workers in the country will commence while listing measures to ameliorate the effects of current economic realities in the country. Mora Iswa reports.
President Tinubu mentioned the provision of incentives to farmers to increase food production, other import duties on rice, wheat, maize, sorghum, drugs, and other pharmaceutical and medical supplies for the next 6 months. The president noted that in the past 14 months, his administration had made significant strides in rebuilding the foundation of the economy, which he said had taken a dip because of many misalignments.
I signed the national minimum wage into law last week, and the lowest earning worker will now earn at least 70,000 naira a month. 6 months ago in Kasana, Abuja, I inaugurated the first phase of our ambitious housing initiative the Renew Hope City and Estate. This project is the first of 6 we have planned across the nation's geopolitical zones.
He said that was the reason he had taken the painful yet necessary decision to remove fuel subsidies and abolish multiple foreign exchange systems, which had constituted a noose around the economic development and progress of the nation. President Tinubu stressed that the task of rebuilding the country was a collective one and called on all citizens, irrespective of religious, political, or cultural differences, to join hands with the government to build the nation.
Young Nigerians who desired a better and more progressive country where their dreams, hope, and personal aspiration will be fulfilled. I am especially pained by the loss of lives in Borno, Jigawa, Kano, Kaduna, and other states, the destruction of facilities in some states, and the wanton looting of supermarkets and shops, contrary to the promise of protest organizers that the protest will be peaceful across the country.
He commiserated with the families and relations of those who had lost their lives in the protests, reiterating that the destruction of properties set the nation backwards, as scarce resources would be again used to restore such infrastructure, and calling for a stop to further bloodshed, violence, and destruction under the guise of protests. Mora Isokman reported.
Christians have been admonished to believe in Jesus Christ to enjoy heaven on earth. This was part of a sermon delivered at the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Desire of Nations Model Parish, Asaba. Henry Usiayo reports.
In his sermon via satellite titled Heaven on Earth, the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, who took his text from the book of Philippians 2, verse 9 to 11, said, "Man by nature dwells in 3 places, heaven, earth, and hell," adding that the original plan of God for man was to enjoy the earth. Hence, God created everything before creating man and gave him dominion over all things. The cleric said man lost it all to the devil after disobeying God, which forced God to chase man out of the Garden of Eden. The General Overseer said God was still interested in ensuring that man enjoyed the earth and not to go to hell when he died, as hell was made for the devil and his agents. He called on believers to put their trust in Jesus Christ, who is the only true way to see God, in order for man to enjoy the earth and also heaven.
You can get heaven to operate on earth for you, all by cooperating with Jesus Christ. How? In the text that I read to you, God has given him a name that is above every other name, that at the name of Jesus, every knee must bow.
The service features special prayers for all security agents in Nigeria.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, has appealed to Nigerians to suspend the ongoing nationwide protests. He assured them that top officials of the government are currently discussing the issues affecting the country. In a statement issued by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Mr. Musa Kirishi, the Speaker explained that he had reported the grievances and demands made by the youths to President Bola Tinubu after he engaged them at a town hall meeting on Wednesday. Honorable Abbas explained how he led the House to engage with leaders and representatives of various youth organizations at the National Assembly, saying that he had fruitful deliberations with over 25 youth groups. Honorable Abbas stated that they would continue to engage with the President on every issue affecting the lives of Nigerians so that necessary measures could be taken, and called on all Nigerians to be cautious and not allow the protests destroy the country. He said Nigerians have the right to peaceful protests, but lamented that history has shown that in most cases, even in advanced countries, unpatriotic elements hijack protests and cause the destruction of lives and property. The Speaker explained that the House was aware of the state of the nation and that the Tinubu administration was working hard to address insecurity, inflation, and unemployment in the country. Despite the appeal by President Bola Tinubu urging Nigerian youths to suspend the ongoing nationwide protests against the high cost of living, protesters in Edo State stormed the road this morning for a live church service. The protesters gathered at the Ago Junction on Ekenwa Road, Benin City, praying to God for intervention in the several crises rocking the nation at the moment. Similarly, protesters in Jos, the Plateau State capital, organized a church service at the old airport roundabout as part of the #EndBadGovernance protest, which began on Thursday. The church service had a large crowd of protesters in attendance, including Christian and Muslim leaders, as well as a former Minister of Sports, Solomon Dalong. Some of the attendees said the church service was significant because they believe that God still has the capacity to intervene in the affairs of Nigeria to turn things around for the good of the suffering citizens. Earlier, President Tinubu, while addressing Nigerians, reeled out some steps taken by the federal government to alleviate the suffering of the people, adding that the country's economy is already on its way to recovery. The president's speech was vehemently criticized by some Nigerians who claimed that he failed to address their demands. Some suspected hoodlums today chased away EndBadGovernance protesters who had gathered at the Gani Fawehinmi Freedom Park in the Ojota area of Lagos State. According to reports, the hoodlums intervened following a disagreement between two groups of protesters. It was reported that a legal practitioner identified only as JP had urged protesters to disperse after President Bola Tinubu's nationwide address called for dialogue and an immediate end to the protests that have been ongoing since Thursday, August 1, 2024. However, another group, reportedly led by 70-year-old Adeboyega Adeniji of Peace Action Transformation, insisted on remaining at the protest site until further notice. Following an address by the police to the protesters, who had been chanting solidarity songs, a group of hoodlums emerged from the opposite side of the road and began to disperse. Delta State Orientation and Communications Bureau has faulted alleged insecurity challenges raised by a young lady in a trending video on social media, claiming that rampant kidnapping and raping of victims had increased in Warri Township, Osubi, Otokutu, Abaro, and Otuama communities. The Bureau, in a statement by the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Fred Ogonesive, said Delta State is one of the safest states in Nigeria due to the collaborative efforts of security agencies in combating crime, coupled with the good governance strides of Governor Sheriff Oborevwori since May 29, 2023, and counting. He said insecurity had been a national issue within the last 2 decades or more, judging from the lingering criminal activities of some herdsmen, bandits, and other criminal elements, adding that it is the joint responsibility of all citizens and government to combat the menace through volunteered information, arrest, and prosecution. Dr. Ogonesive, who is also the Executive Assistant on Communications to Governor Oborevwori, said the trending allegation of acute insecurity contained in the trending video failed objectivity test in all ramifications, amounting to deliberate media propaganda to undermine the positive efforts of security agents who are duly working round the clock to secure the state, protect lives and property. He appealed to Deltans and members of the general public to disregard the fabricated insecurity allegation in those communities, while urging the young lady to desist from portraying herself as a cheap tool in the hands of political mischief makers, pointing out that the video may have been sponsored by political detractors of Governor Sheriff Oborevwori, who are envious of his landmark achievements within the last 1 year and 2 months in office. He assured Daltons that Governor Oborevwori would continue to provide logistics and other necessary support to enhance effective policing, protection of life and property, in line with his enshrined peace and security mantra encapsulated in the moral agenda of this administration. The Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, has condemned the harassment and intimidation of journalists across several states, covering the hashtag #EndBadGovernance nationwide protests. In a statement today by the NUJ's National Secretary, Mr. Achike Chude, the union stated that these acts were carried out by both state and non-state actors. The statement assured that despite these condemnable acts, journalists will neither be cowed nor deterred from carrying out their responsibilities of engaging with society to inform, enlighten, and educate citizens to promote the public good. The union called for a thorough investigation into the incidents while it continued to compile a list of official and personal assets of journalists that were either lost, seized, or damaged to determine their value, adding that they expected a public apology from the institutions responsible, as well as the replacement of the lost or damaged assets of the journalists. The planned 10-day protest, scheduled to be held from August 1 to 10, sought to address the high cost of governance, the high cost of living for citizens, and rising food prices, among other issues. A fire broke out at the Akoso 4 wellhead, which is operated by Nigerian National Petroleum Company 18 Operating Limited in Rivers State. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, confirmed the inferno in a statement by spokesperson Mr. Olaide Shonola. In response to the fire, NNPC 18 Operating Limited has deployed an emergency team to secure the well, address the situation, and prevent environmental contamination using spill containment materials. A joint investigation with relevant stakeholders was planned to determine the origin and impact of the fire. The Akoso 4 wellhead had been inactive for some time before the incident. Additionally, the fire at NNPC's Alakri Well 90, which began on February 23 this year, has not stopped burning. The contractor, Kenyon International West Africa Company, is encountering difficulties with the heat extraction method and is now preparing to use a total oxygen extraction approach. The necessary equipment has been completed, and the contractor is awaiting further instructions from the well owners while monitoring the situation. Governor Sheriff Oborowari has congratulated the renowned elder statesman and former Minister of Information, Professor Sam Oyevaire, on his 83rd birthday. Governor Oborowari, in a statement by his Chief Press Secretary, Sir Festus Aho in Asaba, praised the esteemed political science professor for his invaluable contributions to the progress and advancement of Delta and Nigeria. Professor Oyevaire, who is the chairman of the Delta State Advisory and Peace Building Council, is a renowned academic and astute politician. The governor said that he would always value the former Minister of Information's fatherly wisdom and counsel. Governor Oborowari equally congratulated the celebrant on his incredible forthrightness, extraordinary patriotism, and outstanding dedication to mankind and nation building. He joined family members, friends, political associates, and other well-wishers in thanking God for an amazing life of fulfillment he had granted Professor Oyevaire, and wished him good health, peace, and long life. Break beckons. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. right, you're welcome back. The global scene is next as we join our World News Desk.
Volodymyr Zelensky has said that Ukraine has received its first American-made F-16 fighter jets. President Zelensky disclosed this at a ceremony at a secret location flanked by the jets. He thanked Denmark, the Netherlands, and the US in particular for helping deliver the jets following 18 months of waiting, while adding that many more were needed. He said the arrival marked a crucial milestone in boosting the capabilities of Ukrainian Air Force, which largely relied on old Soviet-era jets. President Zelensky did not specify how many aircraft had arrived in the Ukraine, whether they had all been sent to the 3 NATO countries that he mentioned. Iran has vowed severe retaliation against Israel, which it blames for the death of Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. His assassination came hours after Israel killed Hezbollah senior commander Fuad Shukr in Beirut. Western officials fear that Hezbollah, an Iran-backed military and political movement based in Lebanon, could play a key role in any such retaliation, which in turn could spark a serious Israeli response. Diplomatic efforts by the US and other Western countries continue to try to de-escalate tensions across the region. Reacting to such concerns, the United States, the United Kingdom, Sweden, France, Italy, Canada, and Jordan urged their citizens to leave Lebanon as soon as possible, as a growing number of flights are cancelled or suspended at the country's only commercial airports in Beirut. Some ticket fares have soared, but there were no signs of panic or people scrambling to leave. At least 50 people have been killed in Bangladesh amid worsening clashes between police and anti-government protesters. The unrest came after student leaders declared a campaign of civil disobedience to demand that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina stepped down. Police used tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse demonstrators in the several parts of Bangladesh today, injuring 200 people, leading to the declaration of a nighttime curfew by government authorities. The student protest started with a demand to abolish quotas in civil service jobs last month, but turned into a wider anti-government movement. Law and Justice Minister Anisio Hik today told newsmen that authorities were showing restraints to prevent a disastrous situation.
Back home and in business, the federal government has unveiled plans to establish building manufacturing hubs in Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones to produce essential building materials, reduce import costs, create jobs, and boost economic growth. Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Musa Dangwa, announced the plans during a courtesy visit from Xing Xiangzhong, Executive Chairman, and High Chief Mike Yusuf Ugu, Vice Chairman of the Yuan China-Africa Business Council, at his office in Abuja. According to a statement on the ministry's website, Honorable Dangwa stated that the federal government is open to partnering with investors who would fund and manage the projects, recoup their investments, and eventually return the hubs to the government once their investments are recovered. Providing more details on the locations of the proposed manufacturing hubs, the Housing Minister announced that they will be established in Shagamu, Ogun State, Southwest, Aba, Abia State, Southeast, Warri or Asaba, Delta State, South-South, Ajokuta, Kogi State, North Central, Kano, Kano State, Northwest, and Gombe State, Northeast. Explaining the concept of the building material manufacturing hubs, the House Minister outlined that the hubs will produce items such as roofing sheets, ceilings, tiles, and doors, including essential facilities like power, water, and housing for workers, ensuring a comfortable environment where workers could stay until their tasks are completed. And still in business, a sell-off that rocked equity markets around the world is affecting the outlook for investors looking to buy cheap stocks as worries over the U.S. economy and disappointing tech earnings threaten more losses ahead. The market tumble presents a dilemma as another week of trading is set to unfold. Jumping into stocks during periods of weakness has rewarded investors over the last 2 years as the S&P 500 has climbed about 50% from its October 2022 low. But buyers of the dip risk being steamrolled if recession fears grow following last week's runoff of alarming U.S. data. Stocks have soared this year in a rally fueled by excitement over artificial intelligence technology and the so-called Goldilocks economy, where growth stayed resilient while inflation cooled. The market's appetite for risk took a hit this past week. Concerns that the Federal Reserve may be hurting economic growth by waiting too long to cut interest rates pushed traders to dump everything from richly valued chip makers to shares of industrial companies and head to safe harbors such as U.S. government bonds. We'll now join our entertainment news desk for the latest news on entertainment.
Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has said that President Bola Tinubu's nationwide address early hours of today failed to address the attacks on #End Bad Governance protesters by security agency. Professor Soyinka made the observation in a statement today following the president's address to the nation. The #End Bad Governance protest continued today, making the fourth day as demonstrators voiced their frustrations over the country's deepening economic hardship, escalating poverty, and ineffective governance. Cartoon Network and Max have announced that Nigerian singer Yemi Alade will be recording and performing the theme song for Iyanu, an upcoming superhero animated series deeply rooted in Nigerian culture and mythology. The series is an adaptation of the popular graphic novel Iyanu, Child of Wonder by Nigerian creator and filmmaker Roye Okukpe. The main title theme song is a collaborative effort between Yemi Alade, Lion Forge Entertainment, Alcon Sleeping Giant, and Femi Agumbade, the lead composer for the series. Iyanu is scheduled to debut in the US and across Africa in 2025. This series follows the story of an orphan who must discover the mystery behind her newfound power to save her people from an ancient curse. Set in the magical kingdom of Yoruba land, the animated series is based on Okukpe's acclaimed graphic novel series published by Dark Horse Comics, known for titles like The Umbrella Academy and The Hellboy. At the age of 23, Nigerian musician Dojoy survived a traumatic car accident which damaged her spinal cord for months, and she could not get around without a wheelchair. Alongside the pain, Ms. Joy felt an overwhelming sense of clarity. In the time since she recovered, Ms. Joy had put her energy and all her savings into traveling, even converting a 1980s Nissan van into a home on wheels. Ms. Joy's greatest adventure took place this year when at the age of 32 she became the first documented black African woman to travel solo from East to West Africa on a motorcycle. The Afrobeat singer did a 9,000 kilometers trip from the Kenyan city of Mombasa to Lagos, Nigeria, and she spent more than 3 months traveling. The journey began earlier this year when Ms. Joy flew to Kenya and bought a 250cc motorbike, which she named Rory. The news of Cardi B's pregnancy has sparked a wave of reactions online, with fans expressing both excitement and concern. Some are thrilled about the addition of the family, while others worry about the couple's ongoing relationship struggles, especially in the light of Offset's past infidelity allegations. The Bodak Yellow star shared the joyous news on her Instagram account on August 1, 2024, accompanied by a captivating photo of herself in a red gown proudly displaying her baby bump. This announcement comes just a day after the rapper reportedly filed for divorce from her husband Offset. Cardi B, whose real name is Belcalis Malines Almanza, expressed a heartfelt message in her post describing this new chapter as a fresh start. The couple, who tied the knot in the 2027, already shared 2 children, their daughter Culture, 5, and son Wave, 2. Despite their tumultuous relationship, including previous splits and public reconciliations, Cardi B and Offset have continued to co-parent their children.
And away from entertainment news to sports. Team Nigeria's hopes of getting a podium finish at the ongoing 2024 Paris Olympic Games received a boost today after the nation's female basketball team, the Tigress, advanced to the quarterfinal stage after coming from 4 points down in the second quarter to beat Canada 79-70. The coach, Rena Wakama Tutok team, has started brightly after the first quarter, but failed to hold their lead. Canada drew level 18-18 to finish the first quarter in a stalemate. The Nigerian ladies then trailed Canada by 4 points in the second quarter, 41-37, but came back in the third quarter to lead Canada 62-46 and close the game in the fourth round despite a late rally by the Rena Tutok side as Canada crashed out after losing their third consecutive. In another development, Nigeria's fortunes at the ongoing 33rd Olympic Games in Paris, France, experienced another positive win after young sprinter Favour Odili corked to first ahead of Dina Asher Smith of Great Britain, who clocked 22.28 seconds, and Gina Marian Bitaye Bass of the Gambia, who placed third in 22.84 seconds. Favour Ofili, who is currently ranked second on the semi-final list, is one of Nigeria's medals hopes. The Olympic Games continues tomorrow. And now to our thought for the day. You will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones on every dog that barks. And on that note, we'll conclude the news segment of Dateline. My name is Princess Modi. Do have yourselves a blissful night rest. Good evening.